Hare Krishna. Summary of Canto 4, Chapter 21. Instructions by Maharaja Prithu. To receive Prithu Maharaj, the city was very beautifully decorated with pearls, garlands, cloth, golden gates, unbroken fruits, wetted grains, minerals, lamps, and so on. The entire city was perfumed with fragrance, incense, and water. As Prithu entered the city gate, he was received by the citizens with many auspicious articles like lamps and fires, and he was also received by many ornamented beautiful girls. When he entered the palace, conches and kettle drums resounded, priests chanted mantras, and the reciters offered prayers. Despite all this, the king was never not at all proud of himself. After being warmly welcomed by the important and common citizens, the satisfied King Prithu Maharaj bestowed them with their desired blessings. The great King Prithu Maharaj performed many glorious activities while ruling over the earth and achieved widespread fame. At last he obtained the lotus feet of the Lord. Now Sutta Goswami told Shaunaka Rishi, after hearing Maitreya speak about Prithu and the original king Adiraja Prithu, who was so well qualified, famous, and widely praised, Vidura submissively inquired from Maitreya. He said, Prithu was enthroned by the sages and was given various gifts by the demigods. He also received Vishnu's strength in his arms, which was marked by the marks of Vishnu when he milked the earth. Even today, the kings and demigods of the many planets will sustain on the desirable remnants produced by his great actions of milking the earth. What intelligent person would not hear about him? So please tell me more about his auspicious activities. Then Maitreya began to describe Prithu Maharaj's rule, his bodily features, and his speech. King Prithu happily lived in the tract of land between Ganga and Yamuna, thinking himself to be exhausting the results of his previous pious activities. Prithu Maharaj was actually a Shakti Avesha avatar, and hence he was beyond Prarabdha karma. So the term pious and impious activities are really not applicable to him. Only out of humility did he consider himself an ordinary conditioned soul. He was an unrivaled king with dominion over all the seven islands. No one could supersede his orders except the Brahmanas and the Vaishnavas. Once King Prithu initiated the performance of a great sacrifice in which great Rajarishis, Brahma Rishis, and demigods all assembled. There he worshipped all the respectable visitors according to their respective positions. Then he stood up in that assembly like a moon amongst the stars. His bodily features were such that he was tall, sturdy, he had broad arms, he was fair in complexion, he had reddish lotus eyes, a beautiful raised nose, a beautiful face with a nice smile and beautiful teeth, broad chest, large waist, abdomen shaped like a banyan leaf with three lines, deep coiled navel, golden colored thighs, arched instep, black fine curly slick hair, conch shell-like neck and wearing valuable cloth. For performing sacrifice, he put aside his dress and wore a black deer skin and a ring of kusha grass on his finger. Thus, his natural bodily beauty was nicely visible. To encourage and enhance the pleasure of the assembled members, he glanced over them and he began to speak to them in a grave voice. He said, as he was speaking, it was noted that seven qualities were seen in Prithu's speech. Prithu's speech was very beautiful, it was flowery, full of metaphors, it was clearly understandable, pleasing to hear and delightful, meaningful, grave, without any doubts, and faultless, and for the benefit of all. So, Prithu Maharaj started giving instructions to the citizens. He said, O assembled devotees, good fortune upon you. An inquisitive person should present this carefully, considering principles in the presence of devotees for approval and to reach a conclusion. Prithu first addressed the devotees among the assembly and not the others. So first he gave importance to the devotees. He said, I have been appointed as a king by the Lord's grace in order to rule the citizens and to protect them and to employ them according to their social order. When I execute my duties as a king and also when the Lord is pleased, I will be able to achieve desired destinations which have been described by experts in Vedic knowledge. Any king who simply exacts taxes from the citizens without teaching them their respective varnashram duties is liable to suffer sins of the citizens and to lose his good fortune of wealth and power. Therefore, for the welfare of your king after his death, execute your varnashram duties properly without envy and always think of the Lord. In doing so, you will surely bestow your mercy upon me. I request all the pure demigods, forefathers, and sages to kindly approve my proposal, for after death, the result of an action is equally shared by its doer, its director, and its approver. If a king is elevated to the heavenly planets, the citizens who cooperated by approving of his methods are also elevated along with him. Then one may ask, how can you institute the worship of the Lord, for your father denied his existence? So for that, Prithu Maharaj was clarifying, saying that according to the authoritative statements of Shastra, there must be a supreme authority. This can be observed by the presence of a beautiful and powerful bodies in this life by sense perception and in the next by scriptures. So, the cause of different bodies is not karma because actions are material and unconscious. They are not the demigods since they are not independent, but it is the Supreme Lord because He has the ability to do or not do or do differently. Great authorities like Manu, Uttanapada, Dhruva, Priyavrata, Anga, Brahma, Shiva, Prahlad, and Bali always agree that the only bestower of the benedictions of Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, and Swarga is the Supreme Lord. By one's inclination to serve the Lord's lotus feet, the contamination in the mind acquired over innumerable births is immediately cleansed, and day by day one's spiritual inclination increases. It is like the purification done by the Ganges water emanating from the Lord's toe. A devotee whose mind has been cleansed of unlimited contamination, who has developed detachment and is strengthened by Bhakti Yoga, who has taken shelter of the Lord's lotus feet, does not surrender to material life which is full of suffering. Now the citizens might have asked, since we are drowned in our household activities, how can we worship the Lord with pure bhakti? Prithu then advised them to do karma mishra bhakti. He said, render devotional service without any reservation unto the lotus feet of the Lord, so that you can fulfill all your desires. Engage your mind, words, and bodies in the service of the Lord. Offer all of your varnashram duties in the service of the Lord. So like that, you can engage in devotional service. The Lord is transcendental, but for the benefit of the conditioned soul, He accepts different types of sacrifice with many material qualities like rituals, mantras, ingredients, names, and other purposes for the sake of the performers. But the sacrifice becomes devoid of material qualities by the act of offering it to the Lord, which gives it a small component of bhakti. The Lord manifests in different bodies which are a combination of pradhana, kala, ashraya, and so on, and He supplies the intelligence of the sacrificer so that he may offer his actions to the Lord. The Lord Himself then appears as the various results of those actions, just like how fire appears differently in various types of wood. Offering karmas to the Lord gives one jnana, by which one attains the Lord. However, the appearance of jnana and the resultant attainment of the Lord depends only on the amount of bhakti and faith that one has in offering those karmas. Now the citizens would be saying that we have become successful by your instruction, we will worship the Lord. So at that time, Prithu Maharaj says, everything is your mercy on me. All you citizens are worshipping the Lord who is the enjoyer of the sacrifice and the Supreme Guru, and by executing your occupational duties, you are satisfying Him. Therefore, you are bestowing your mercy on me also. Then Prithu Maharaj established the glories of the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas in order to firmly establish bhakti. He said a royal family should not exhibit its material prowess before Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, who are glorified by their characteristic prowess of tolerance, patience, knowledge, and education. By worshipping their lotus feet, the eternal and foremost person, Lord Hari, is obtained. Um, the, he himself has obtained the opulence of a staunch reputation which purifies the entire universe. The ever independent Lord is very pleased with those who follow in his footsteps and serve with all their hearts the Brahmanas and the Vaishnavas who are very dear to him, and vice versa. By regular service to them, a person becomes satisfied and achieves liberation without delay. There is no activity superior to serving the Brahmanas. The Lord does not take as much pleasure in eating through the sacrificial fire, which is devoid of consciousness, as he does in accepting offerings through the mouths of learned sages and devotees. A Brahmana, by his faith, austerity, scriptural conclusion, sense control, mind control, and meditation, supports the Vedas in order to illuminate the real goal of life. Because the Vedas reveal everything about the world, they are compared to a mirror in which the universe is reflected. May I perpetually carry on my crown the dust of the lotus feet of those devotees till the end of my life. One who does so is very soon relieved of all sinful reactions and eventually develops all good, desirable qualities. Their only wealth is good behavior, gratitude, and shelter of elders. One who acquires Brahmanical qualifications gets all opulences. May the Lord and his associates be pleased with the Brahmanas, cows, and me. So after hearing this, after hearing how Prithu spoke so nicely, all the demigods, Pitris, Brahmanas, and devotees congratulated him by expressing their good fortune and their goodwill. The Veda Vakya that the Father attains the heavenly planets through the Son has been proved correct by Prithu, who has delivered sinful Vena from hell, just like how Prahlad Maharaj delivered Hiranyakashipu. They told him, "May you be blessed with a long life, for you have great devotion to the Lord. You have a pure reputation. You are preaching the Lord's glories. Having you as our master is like living directly under the agency of the Lord. Your excellent leadership is not so astonishing for you because the nature of great merciful persons is to have affection for the citizens. We are wandering blindly due to our past deeds and by superior arrangement. But today we have been delivered from ignorance by you. Respects to the great Lord who exists in pure goodness and who maintains the entire world by introducing Brahmanical culture and who protects everyone through the Kshatriyas." So this ends the summary of Canto 4, Chapter 21, Instructions by Maharaja Prithu. Hare Krishna.